Well, Mr. Francis Johnson joins us now. He's the president of Pengassan to shed light on what is going on. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, they did say your union threw us into what we are facing today. But, well, let's start with perhaps we understand that a meeting has held. What is the current position today?
Well, the current position as at now, good morning, Nigerians. The current position as at now is that the action has been suspended. So it's not called off, but it's suspended. Because a committee was set up so that we can also look at it and make sure that whatever we are doing is also going to be something that also can stand the test of time. So it has been suspended, and the committee, and as at yesterday, the association, both Pengassan and Nupeng, in-house, also been asked to bring the names of members of the committee so that everything can also be done transparently, honestly, and so that the Nigerians can see that we don't necessarily like going on strike and making sure that Nigerians go through on leadership.
Well, we understand you had a meeting in the boardroom of NNPC on Wednesday with Pengassan, Nupeng, NNPC officials. Well, when you say the strike has been suspended and not called off, is it that the demands have not been met? Why not call it off?
You say what?
When you say the demand has been, the strike has been suspended and not called off, does that mean that your demands have not been met?
No, well, there are some, there was a communique, and in that communique there are some actions to be taken with timelines and with time frame. So we also need to see the sincerity and the genuineness to also be put in place so that we can also know that yes, there is sincerity, there is honesty, and everything is going to be done in a transparent way. Because most of the things that have caused this issue is secretiveness. And there is no way you can be secretive when you are doing things. And, you know, because it's better you lay your cards on the table so that we can also see and know that, yes, we are open. And this government came in on the process of accountability, transparency, and to also make sure that Nigerians know what is happening and everything. So I think that is why we also put it off to see where we are.
All right. Well, we hope that that piece gets back. Okay. Well, before we take a look at your communique, which has been circulated at the time, could you be a little more specific? What exactly caused the strike in the first place?
Well, what caused the strike was, like had been said at every forum, there was a statement made by the minister about 2 or 3 weeks ago at an Oloibiri lecture. And if you look at it, the minister addressing participants at that forum said that the government is going to unbundle NNPC. It's going to also set up directorates, and also make sure that we have about 30 companies. And so when you look at such events, and at no forum, at any forum that the union were also as stakeholders were taken along. And you also look at it that the act setting up NNPC in 1977 was an act of parliament. And so for you to also do anything, that means that act must be repealed or modified. And that has not been done by the National Assembly, which is the legislative arm. So we are just taken aback that you just wake up and said at the forum that you are going to unbundle. And it's also good. I also can see what has also happened, that I was misquoted and everything. But when you also issue statement and you look at it with the time frame of 2 or 3 weeks, there will be a rejoinder that yes, this is not the intention. But saying unbundle and is a legislative act, and also you should look at the issue of PIB. The PIB has also been in this state because there has not been sincerity, there has not been the political way to drive it. And so when you look at the organization restructuring and everything that's going to also make sure that the oil and gas works very well, they're all in that PIB. And so it's also good that we're also going to pass the PIB in whole, or are you passing in segmented versions?
But if you look at this, for some Nigerians, did you consult with the ministry or the minister before you went on strike?
Well, see, when the actions you take, I also don't look at that. It's better we weigh the action that we also have negative impacts on Nigerians. We must also consult and look at it. But it's just not good that you wake up and said we are going to do this without looking at, okay, let's take every stakeholders involved and see, because so that we know and don't also cause untold hardship for Nigerians. And so what do we expect to do? And when the in-house
what I meant
that this is what they want to do.
A minute here, comrade.
And we also have to say, okay, as a national body, we have to also give them the approval. That's okay. Let them see what they can do. But it also builds that government, everybody, whatever action you want to do, it's better we carry everybody along so that you don't put Nigerians through unnecessary trauma of going through what is happening in the country right away.
Given that the ministry didn't carry the unions along, don't you know that your action by that strike would also cause untold hardship to Nigerians? Shouldn't you have given a form of communication or form of warning to the ministry before embarking on strike?
Well, just like I've been said, when the minister came in, we met him and we said, for every policy or anything, because oil and gas is a volatile industry and sector, and so everything you're going to do, they also have a part, negatively or positively. You must also look at issues and say that, yes, we do things and make sure that we all are buying and be able to do it very well. For example, okay, it's not only NNPC, only the union that also raised dust, the National Assembly also raised dust. I remember one House of Representatives member from Cross River even said it, that it's illegal. And they even summoned the JMD Minister of State. So it's not only, so the National Assembly, the Senate also said it, and that we must come and explain. That's an act of parliament. Were we consulted? Were we also now put in the picture of what we are going to do?
Comrade Johnson.
What do you expect us to do? And when things were not done properly. So we have to also look at it. And thank God that we also have said, okay, let's see what two ones don't make it right. The union and the minister, we also came to the roundtable discussions and see what we can do so that we can move forward.
You know, Comrade Johnson, we have to go back to that because it doesn't seem as if I got an answer to that. You just said two wrongs don't make it right. Would that mean that, does that mean that the unions also have agreed that they erred on the strike action?
No, what I mean by that is this. When there are spontaneous decisions you take, you also have to give spontaneous reaction. But we also look at it that, yes, at least if it would have been difficult and more pathetic, if we were just left and nothing was done, that, okay, let's see how we can go. Only God knows what will have happened.
Aren't we taking Nigerians for granted? When you thought that the ministry made a mistake by not consulting the unions, shouldn't you have consulted with the ministry knowing full well that your strike action would cause untold hardship to Nigerians, which is still very much felt in the nation? Are the unions taking Nigerians for granted?
No, the unions cannot ever take Nigerians for granted. But also look at it that the unions are Nigerians. The leadership of the union at every level, we are all Nigerians. I also care about the interests of the masses. And so we also, when things like this were done, we also try to reach out. But you know, in communication, when you call and your calls are not being answered and everything, what do? That means that you are not being, you are not, everybody is important. So when we had that thing, you try to read the minister, what is going on? Why are we placing the cart before the horse? I don't try and say we can avoid things that are also not going to cause hardship to Nigerians.
You must have felt the pulse of the country, of the nation. You know, a lot of Nigerians are not happy with the unions.
Nigerians are not happy with the unions over it. But let me also say that prior to this, there is not the action. Prior to this, there also been the queues and everything. Due to the issue of supply, it can also be seen that products are being kept at the vessel, at the baggage, at demurrage. So it's not deliberately the union something that also did this. But what the union actions also did was that it also aggravated. Yeah. So it's not that the unions are taking Nigerians for granted.
You don't think that the unions owe Nigerians apology on this? Because if we say that the unions are out to correct something, and you know that it will cause Nigerians, the bulk of the population in the country, untold hardship, plunging the nation into darkness, it will amount to taking the nation for a ride. Don't you think that the unions should apologize to Nigerians for plunging them into darkness and causing them untold hardship with that strike?
Well, for causing Nigerians to darkness, as I'm saying, as you're aware, that the discos, there has also been issue with the discos and the gencos. And even there are also power drops in the megawatts and everything.